Blog Talk Radio.
Hello out there, everybody. I am David Domzowski, founder of the Financial Bin. Welcome to a special edition of Financial Bin Radio called Debt Dungeon, Episode 1. This is where we speak with individuals who accumulated insane amounts of debt and live to tell the tale. Our guests will share how they got into debt and how they broke free of its shackles. We plan to do one or two of these podcasts per month so we can give you listeners solid examples of everyday people making a difference in their own lives. Now, before I introduce you to our first guest for Debt Dungeon, let me share some quick notes with you. Number one, first, don't forget to pick up your copy of Entrepreneur Intervention, Triumphs and Failures of Entrepreneurs. You can do so for just 99 cents on Apple's iBookstore, Kindle, Nook, and Sony Reader, and it's soon to be available on Kobo and Copia. You can also get a paperback for just under $10, just $9.99 at Amazon and CreateSpace. Go to financialbin.com and click on the book section at the very top next to the login button for more information. Secondly, we are in the planning stages of our next book, Wealth Intervention, How to Grow and Keep Your Wealth. Wealth Intervention will detail how 20 rich men and women built, manage, and grow their wealth. We are currently looking for contributors for this book. We're looking for people whose families were already wealthy, and we want to learn how they got there. We also want people who started with nothing and built massive amounts of wealth. The idea of the book is to give people in the Generation Y age group something to shoot for and concrete examples of people who have been there and done it. Go to financialbin.com, click on Wealth, and you'll find the article talking about it right there. You can also email us at wealth@financialbin.com for more information or to contribute. Now let me introduce you to today's guest, a.k.a. former prisoner of the dungeon. His name is Joe Peretta. Joe is the author of Master the Card, Say Goodbye to Credit Card Debt Forever. Now please join me in welcoming Joe to the program. Joe, welcome to financialbin.com's Debt Dungeon.
Well, it's a pleasure to be with you, David. Thank you.
No problem at all. It's a pleasure to have you. Now let's get right to it, Joe. The first question I have is, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? What's your background?
Sure. Presently, I'm a communicator. I am a teacher. I'm a motivational speaker and an author, as you mentioned. And my message really is with regards to credit card debt, how dangerous it is and how it really needs to be avoided because once you get deep into debt, it's very difficult to get out. So my main platform these days is to make people aware of credit card debt and its dangers.
Okay, fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe your background and maybe career-wise?
Sure. As I mentioned, I'm a college professor. I teach English, composition, and literature at Lafayette College, and I taught on the college level for about 15 years, and I think that really builds into that communication component
Sure.
that I mentioned a moment ago. And I've always been one who enjoys being in front of the crowd, enjoys teaching, inspiring people, and that's something that I hope to do from here on out as well.
Fantastic. Now, what led you to getting into debt? How did you accumulate so much debt, Joe?
So much of it was carelessness and a sense of feeling like I was deserving of things. Many years ago, I remember when I was first out on my own, I felt like this rite of passage or this sense of entitlement to have things and to own things, even if I couldn't afford them. So I got my first credit card and ran that up to the limit, and I applied for a second one and did the same, and it became a vicious cycle. And ultimately, I owned somewhere between 12 and 14 cards and carried a grand total of about $12,000 in credit card debt. So much of what I did was sort of an ego boost or a sense of entitlement and just plain carelessness. And fortunately, one day I had a wake-up call, and I said, enough is enough.
Well, kind of building off that idea, that sense of entitlement. I mean, I just find it amazing, especially, you take credit cards. I mean, you're a college professor. I mean, I know when I was in school a couple of years ago, there were credit card companies coming on campus, and sign up for this reward, sign up for that. Make sure you get this, make sure you get that. And it seems like, I don't know, that idea of entitlement is only kind of getting worse, really. I mean, so it's good that you're out there.
It is in many ways. Unfortunately, now with new legislation that was passed a few years ago, they are not allowed to hawk the cards on campus anymore, so that's certainly a good thing. Right,
absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about what you were spending money on? You mentioned the sense of entitlement and everything. What did you feel you had to have?
Well, it's so interesting. As I write in the book, I would swipe the card from everything from a 25-cent pack of gum to a $2,500 vacation. So really, it didn't matter. It became such a reflex action. I just reached into the wallet, got the card, swiped it, put it right back into the wallet, almost without thinking. So I would get groceries, I would go out with friends, I would go to the movies, I would buy clothes, you name it, and I was putting it on the credit card.
Well, so you're seeing these bills rack up. You're obviously probably not able to make the monthly payment on it. So at what point did you say to yourself, all right, this is it, I got to make a change?
You're right. I sort of was just paying the minimum at most on most of these cards. One day I kind of had that gut feeling. You ever have that feeling like something's just not right? And for me, it was with the credit cards. I said, I feel like I'm getting nowhere. I feel like I'm the middleman with my own money. I'm getting paid by my boss, and so much of it is going over to the credit card companies, and I'm still only affording the minimum payment every month. I'm getting nowhere fast. So I said to myself, I've got to see exactly what I owe. I've got to sit down. I've got to take out all these statements and see, what this grand total is. So that's exactly what I did because I learned that knowledge is power. And once I put it all in black and white and saw exactly what I owed on each card and then totaled it all up with the corresponding interest rates, I felt a bit sick to my stomach at first, but then I realized, okay, at least now I know what I'm dealing with, and I can put together a game plan to start to get out of debt.
Well, okay, so you have it all in front of you. You realize, oh boy, I got a problem. So How did you pay it off? What was your game plan? How long did it take you?
It took me between 4 and 5 years to finally become totally free from all the credit card debt. And what I decided to do was to try to get little victories at first. I decided to pay off the cards which had the lowest balances on them first, because this way I could say, okay, I know I'm done with that one, I can put that one aside. And, of course, in the process, reduce my use and ultimately stop using the cards completely, because nobody can get out of debt by continuing to debt. So it was a change in mindset and a change in habit, reducing and stopping the use of the cards, and then paying off the card with the lowest balance first, and then the card with the next smallest balance, so on and so forth, sort of like a snowball, so that, again, I could gain psychological victories while at the same time getting a firm handle on the situation.
Now, Joe, what did you learn from all this, from this whole experience, this couple of years, between figuring out, oh my God, I'm really in the hole here, to coming out of it? What's your takeaway, basically, is what I'm trying to ask?
One of the big things was I learned the difference between a want and a need. I think that when I was using the cards haphazardly, the way I was, everything was, in my mind, everything was a need. I need to have this, I need to have that. But so much of it was just, I wanted these things because they either made me feel better or I was concerned about keeping up with the Joneses. So that was a real big lesson that I learned. And the second thing I learned was almost everything that I bought on credit I could just as easily buy with cash. And it might take a little bit longer, so that I saved up the money to buy the things before, so I didn't have to put them on credit. But I saw that with some patience and with some determination, I could get through life without carrying massive amounts of debt. And I think that's something that a lot of people in this country need to realize.
Well, that's actually a great transition into asking you to tell us a little bit about the book, and tell us maybe the main reasons behind your writing it in the first place.
This book had been stewing in the back of my mind for years, and I just sort of procrastinated on writing it. And then when the country really hit the skids financially back in 2008, I said, all right, I think now's the time for me to get everything on paper that I've been wanting to do for so many years. Right. So I spent a good part of 2009 organizing the book, getting my thoughts in an outline form, and then a lot of 2010 just sitting down and writing the book, because I feel that It's a book that people need to read. It's an easy read, but it's a very informative read, and it inspires at the same time. So what I do in the book is I give my game plan as how I got out of credit card debt, the steps that I followed in order to become debt free, and then the second half of the book focuses on how much life improves during the process when you're not carrying that albatross of credit card debt around your neck. You start to see opportunities where you didn't see them before, and you just plain feel better about yourself because you don't have that weight on your shoulders every day.
Yeah, your whole paycheck or a bulk of your paycheck isn't going to pay somebody else, like
right,
you alluded
exactly.
to before.
yeah,
absolutely. So Joe, what are you doing today? What are you up to today? Besides, you had this book out. Are you doing speaking engagements? Are you still teaching? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm still teaching. In fact, even though I teach literature and composition, I spend time every semester with my freshmen and sophomores talking about the dangers of credit card debt. And people, they're funny because before the book came out, I think they would listen and say, yeah, okay, yeah, that could be a problem, blah blah blah. But then I said, now I can say I've written about it too, and they say, ooh, and they really they listen that much more closely because there's a book
perk
out.
up.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, I am doing speaking engagements at local churches, civic organizations, businesses, and I've put together a seminar called Master the Card, which focuses on many of the things that I address in the book, and I also focus on the psychological components, how each individual's life will improve through this process.
What are your plans for 2012 and maybe the next year or so?
I have started to do a lot of media. I've done several interviews over the past several months, radio, podcast, TV, newspaper articles, and I really want to step that up this year so that people nationally can know about this book. So I'm going to definitely keep plugging away at the media, continue to market the workshop that I just mentioned, and spread the word about the credit cards and the book, because whether we're in a down economy or a good economy, credit card debt is dangerous. So it sort of transcends time and transcends the financial economy that we're in.
Do you have any plans for a possible follow-up book?
I do, actually. One of the chapters in the book is called Give, and I'm planning on writing a book based on giving, because I think so much of our mindset when we're in debt is that we're down and we can't do anything for anybody else, but really that's not true. Every little thing that we can do here or there to help somebody else also helps us feel better about ourselves. So I decided that based on that one chapter of the book, I'm going to expand it into another book, into a full book, focusing on giving of one's time, giving of one's skills, and also, of course, giving of one's money. But so many people, when they think about giving, think just about money. And the purpose of this book is to say there's so much more that we can give besides that.
I got to say, that's really fantastic. There's not enough of that kind of mindset out there. And I think, for you to get out there and really kind of spread that message, I mean, that's something that we need, especially, with the economy we're in. Everyone's feeling down. When if we would kind of, help each other out, whether it's time, whether it's skills, like you said, I mean, think about how much better we'd be for it. It doesn't even involve money. It just involves giving of your time, giving of yourself.
An hour a week to the elderly neighbor down the road, an hour a week to the local church, whatever the case is, we all have a little something that we can give.
Exactly. Now, Joe, what are 2 or 3 tips that you can pass on to members of Generation Y who may be in credit card debt or student loan debt or both? At the Financial Bin, we're really focused on the Generation Y age group because, they're going to be the ones taking over the reins not too far into the future here. So what would be your message to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Number one, be aware. All right, watch how you spend. If you sense that you have any trouble with credit cards, meaning that you use them sort of like I did, haphazardly, leave them at home. Discipline yourself. If you really feel the need to have something, save the cash before you buy it. So just a sense of awareness for starters. Secondly, if people are already in debt, whether it be student loan debt or credit card debt or a combination, because so many people nowadays have both, don't lose hope. I think people beat themselves up when they get in debt. I know I did at first. Don't give up hope, though, because you can change. You can change your habits. You can change the way you use money. So even if you're in debt now, it doesn't make you a bad person, for one thing. And secondly, you can work on it to get yourself out of it. It's going to take some time, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Joe, how can the listeners get in contact with you or buy the book?
They can go to my website. It's www.joeperetta.com. That's JoeParetta.com. And they can find out about the book, my speaking engagements, coaching services that we offer, and pretty much anything they want to know about me.
Joe, I really want to thank you for your time, and I want to congratulate you on escaping the debt dungeon.
Well, thank you, David. This was fun. Appreciate it.
No problem at all. You're welcome back anytime. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That was Joe Peretta. Again, like you said, JoePeretta.com. Joe is the author of Master the Card, Say Goodbye to Credit Card Debt Forever. Now, Joe also wrote an article for us, and we published that earlier this week. If you go to financialbin.com and check it out, it's called How Joe Peretta, author of Master the Card, Say Goodbye to Credit Card Debt, Escape the Debt Dungeon, Episode 1. So be sure to check that out. We want to thank Joe again, and please, remember to visit financialbin.com for the latest news on personal finance, for budgeting, for wealth management, and on education. Make sure to check out Entrepreneur Intervention, Traps and Failures of Entrepreneurs. Just 99 cents. All you got to do is download it to your Kindle or download the Kindle app for your iPad, and there you go. You're ready to go. And be sure to let us know if you have anyone who wants to contribute for wealth intervention. Again, my name is David Domzowski. This is a special presentation of Financial Bin Radio. I am your host, and please join us next time.